Welcome back on Darkenss. Today I want to propose you a video about the unboxing review about the White Dwarf issue 485 of February 2023, released by the Games Workshop. This is quite interesting because this is related in part about the board details that are the new codex that has been released about Warhammer 40k this month, the February. And there is a battle report related about that. I suggest you eventually to read to understand better how they work. So now we go to see about the contents of such White Dwarf, but first I want to make you see what are the contents inside as additional paper. So the things that I don't like too much to have, like this, I prefer to have an external box where there are aside and not as this, but we go to see right now. So we can find that these one are the first that are related about a campaign about Warhammer Age of Sigmar, and this it's mainly related about Warcry than Age of Sigmar, but still they are correlated, so it's that one. Here also other schedules that you can find that you can keep off from here. So again about Warcry. And here we have this that are ties about the Ark of Omen boarding that you can cut or make maybe some photocopy and so on and use for your as your ties for your planning and so on about it. So as you see, I don't like because they make a bit of problems about really reading and opening good the White Dwarf itself. So think about it eventually if you are going to take off eventually, because it could be quite nice, or if you want to keep everything as I do together, you have to pay a bit of attention when you open such White Dwarf. Here we have the alternative cover of the White Dwarf that if you make the subscription you can have, and it's the same if you notice as this, simply without the writing on it. So anyway, it's an amazing one. It's not different, and in the past you could find something that it was a different cover totally. Now you can find the same without the writing and can be a great addition eventually. Eventually you can think because you save money and have something different. Here we can find the introduction of the White Dwarf, here the contents of the White Dwarf, and here we can see something of what we see inside, but I like such images, really. You could eventually make some photos or so on, make a cut to avoid, for example, the numbers or so on, or repair in some other ways, if you understand what I mean, and then use. About this, there is an article that it's quite awesome about the Blood Angels, so nice. This is at the end the cover of the Blood Angels Codex itself, so it's something that I love anyway. So we can flip and we can find here the contact of the mailing list of the readers to the White Dwarf, and I like quite a lot such things because I always suggest you to go to see about such images, or cause the painting or cause the modifying, because it's always really quite awesome, because you can find, for example, bases that can be different. Also these ones, for example, it's the normal model of the king, but with these that are the tomes that come from the Green Stuff world, or eventually something similar. So you can find that you can gain quite a lot of similar things, even if you can put different pieces together. So as usual, there is always something, because for example this piece, it's a simple one, because it's simply something that make like a ruin with something like a background and so on. So it's always quite amazing, and I suggest you to see, because you can in some way make that you can enlarge the base that you are going to use to have something quite useful to gain. So nice. In here instead we have someone that reconstructed a scenery related about the Lord of the Rings. So it's something that it's always quite nice, because we always talk about miniatures, and sometimes since some like these scenics are amazing, because it's wonderful to play on such really scenics ones, amazing ones. Here an article by Phil Kelly that talks about how to prepare your table or so on to play with. We talk about the scenery, and this is related again, so that you can choose some type of elements and so on, how you can prepare if you make something that you are make to receive some opponent, or you go to a tournament or so on and you find them. So it's quite interesting anyway to read. And then we move to the Age of Sigmar part, with something related about the flashpoint rondos with a background that it's always amazing, and I love such images because they are quite amazing and quite special. Even if I don't play the orcs, they are nice to see. Over here we have again related about the Stormcast Eternals and related about the Kraken Blades that we've seen before that are related about rondos. So it's something to know better also about Stormcast Eternals and other ones that you maybe don't know too much because they are second one or other type, so not the main one related about the Storm Host. So I think that they are always quite amazing. And then here we have the flashpoint that brings something related about a small campaign related about Warcry. And I like such one because I don't play Warcry, but you can gain quite a lot, because if you play Warcry, this would be amazing to gain ideas and so on to play with. And if you don't play, they can give you quite a lot of suggestions how to make it work for a campaign and so on, so quite nice. And then we have this that it's related about the main characters and so on that has been painted by, I can say, really great painters and so on. So you can see a lot of them. And you can find also here some ideas, for example, how to paint the wings of this dragon and so on. So I always find them really quite amazing one. Also Lord Croc, you can understand how full of detail it is. It's amazing. Also a simple painting but amazing one about Belarkor. It's something that really you want to try to gain something like this, and it's awesome. So it's always to analyze them. Nagash, and I want to remind you that I made a video about my Nagash. If you're interested, you can find it in the description. So it's quite nice anyway. So there are a lot of things that you can gain and try to understand about such things. Because also here, it's Alariel, but see the shenix that has been put under her. And so how you can personalize them, quite amazing. This it's simple one, it's Archon, but it's mainly related about the Archon as model and the base that accentuate what are Archon itself. So it's something really to look at because it's amazing one. Here an article about how to create a campaign for only 2 players, and sincerely I find it quite intriguing because it's simple but nice to read. If you start the campaign and you don't know exactly how to proceed, it can be something to really look at. And then new rules about Warcry. We have seen the campaign before, now we see new rules related, and there are a lot of things about, and they are mainly related about the Goblin. So we can find that there are quite a lot of things to read if you're interested about Warcry. It's really rich about the rules for Warcry, because as you can see there are quite a lot of things, really a lot. These schedules we have seen that we'll see later. Then we have related about Underworld. As usually, I don't play Underworld, but I like to collect some of the armies. Eventually there is the playlist in the description. And this squad about the Undead, I hope that it will be released separately, because now it's in a box, and I'm not interested about buying all the things, but if it is released separately, I'm really quite interested to buy, because it's amazing. I love such squad. Then we have the story about the Tale of 4 Warlords, so we can see the story about such type of playing along the years, and I quite like, because I have some of them, the lately ones, but some of the previous ones I only in the sort of collection, so it's nice to see how you can summarize all of such releasing, and they are always amazing to see. These are the cards that we talked before. So we can find a lot of things to look and to see, so quite nice. And then we have the Warhammer 40k parts, and yes, these are the Blood Angels, and these are not the Dark Angels, not other things, but the Tomb Keepers, the chapter specialized from the White Dwarf, created from the White Dwarf itself team, and then really developed. So it's quite intriguing about such. And this is the background related about the new Flashpoint Arc of Omen, but the part related about the Herald of Misery, and this brings the part about the Tomb Keepers and the Blood Angels. And I like this. It's a background that if you play Blood Angels like me, you'd like really to read and watch a bit more, because it's something that it's worth, and it could be quite intriguing anyway. So there are a lot of information here about background to read, because as you can see, the images are amazing, but the information are even more. And then new, I can say, rules and so on about playing the boarding. Here I don't like such type, because okay, it's a sort of playing kill team and so on, but it's not something that brings me quite a lot of interested part. So it's nice to be available anyway, because in such a way you can really understand better the things to play in the game and so on. But if you are going to play Warhammer 40k, this part is always amazing, because it's like playing a big set of Space Hulk, that you know I like Space Hulk. And so really I still prefer the Space Hulk, the original one, the set box itself. I made also some videos later about, if you're interested about, but anyway, it's a way to understand, because it's the part about how to dispose the walls, the section and so on, and understand the missions, because it's really a presentation of the mission related. So it's something that if you're going to play with these parts of Warhammer 40k, you should need such White Dwarf, because improve quite a lot your options about what you can gain. So think about here how you can play and so on, a special one about the mission, so you can choose if you're interested about, but still it's something to read. And then we had this, that it's related about how to assemble your boarding pattern. So it talks you about what you can choose and so on, so by the authors of the boarding pattern, and so other, I can say, way to understand what the creators mean when creating such type of sub-game. So it's something that you can gain quite a lot. And then we had this, that it's a match play by such rules, related about the World Eaters, because that's been released this month, February 1, 2023, related about Warhammer 40k, and this it's a way to play them against the guard. So I think that it can be really quite intriguing to play with, so you can really think. And as you can see, it's a board with some walls and so on. It's a game that I repeat, I don't like too much, but in such a way you can understand with these battle reports how it's played, and if you can be interested about, so you can really be conscious without buying a lot of manuals and so on, if you can be interested in. And I think in such a way can be quite amusing one. So remember that you have to pay a bit of attention to such things, because it will just make you understand the new army, eventually how you can play a specific game that you never played, or to improve your knowing about a specific game. Then here we have the first part of a campaign related about Necromunda, and you can gain a lot of info related about eventually of Necromunda, and eventually something that you can appreciate if you play Necromunda itself, because you can find the rules, and I like such designs, they are quite amazing. Then we have some models related about Necromunda that can make you understand and love them, because for example it's amazing such model, but it makes you really understand better what is Necromunda. And so I always suggest you to see them, because you can gain some ideas maybe for some modification or so on, and gain something. So I always like such things. Then here we have the profile about one of the consuls, that it's one of the sons of Gilliman, and so we can find a little of, like I say, background related, because it's mainly about this. There are not rules about this, but you can maybe personalize in the way to use and amplify the most that you can own. And then we have this, that finally we see the coming back of the Black Library. I was a bit deluded when in January the previous one, White Dwarf, was not able to find the part related about the Black Library part. Sincerely, I like quite a lot that has come back, and this it's related about Gunbreeder and the Scowen. So it's something that I really love to read. Remember that these are amazing, because you can, for example, know an author that you didn't know. You can understand an army, for example, for Age of Sigmar, Warhammer 40k or so on, that you never known about, or maybe an author that took of an army that you like, and also you never know, maybe you can appreciate the combination of the two, or simply make better your English, because you read and you can improve itself. So it's always something that it's nice to see, because I love such type of add-in, are really one of the best parts other than the models themselves. And here we have the Inside the Studio that anticipate what we see in the next with us. So you can find a lot of models, a lot of intriguing things. And we not yet know that what we've seen here, that was the history of the Tale of Four Warlords, it's an anticipation of the Tale of Four Warlords that we see in the next White Dwarf itself. So quite amusing one to look at. So what to say about such White Dwarf? I think that it's really quite nice. It's full of background, full of rules, even if there are rules related about Warcry, technically, and a bit about the boarding game. So the side games, so Kill Team and Warcry, related about the main skins, Age of Sigmar and Warhammer 40k. Still, I think that it's quite nice and it's quite worth. About the inserts, I said yet that I don't like how they are put here. They will come, because I like that there is even more to look at, because there is something that otherwise you start to create and so on, instead that they are free with the White Dwarf itself. Still, I prefer in another way, not like it is done. But this White Dwarf, it's worth. It's mainly related. There is a lot of background, a lot of idea about conversion, so on, that if you're going to see, you can have a lot of suggestion. But mainly it's related about the background and the rules. And I don't dislike anyway, because it's one of the main parts that I like to buy White Dwarf for. Anyway, from Dino Mode, it's everything. I invite you to put a like on this video, to subscribe to the channel, to ring the bell, and to comment this video if you are interested in something about this video, or you want to suggest me some arguments for other videos. I hope to see you again to the next time.